Oh shit, we're live. Okay, guys, I come before you sharing worldwide that I have found the cure to all diseases, all of them, viruses, illnesses, anything, you name it. I found a cure for it. Me, I did. Anyway, so making this video to share with you the name of this cure exclusively. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here. So, ladies, gentlemen, mankind, the name of this cure is hey guys, first of all, I want to wish all of you a happy 4th of July. Now, unfortunately, this video isn't going to be up until the 5th today, if I'm right. So, sorry I may have missed the boat by a day, but I just want to wish you guys a late happy 4th of July. So, hope you all had a great one. Hope celebrations were wonderful, and I hope you all got drunk. So 28 Days Later is a movie that came out in 2002. God, it feels like forever ago. And it stars Cillian Murphy, Brendan Gleeson, and Naomie Harris. And this was fascinating because I'm probably going to get hunted down to the brink of extinction just for saying this. But I actually never watched it until very recently, just for this review. I know, pitchforks away, please. But I'm sort of glad I did, because I didn't really enjoy zombie movies or post-apocalyptic movies back when I was younger. I thought zombie movies were overrated, and I thought that, they were just blown out of proportion. I could never see the appeal until now when I'm older. And what genuinely got me into zombie movies, was George Romero's iconic Night of the Living Dead that I watched, was it a year ago on this channel, and I reviewed it. And that just sort of genuinely brought me into that world of zombies, infected. There's games I've played, like The Last of Us, Days Gone, all of these things, and now I genuinely do appreciate that era, that genre of horror. So it's wonderful that I have that perspective, and that's why I feel I enjoyed this movie a lot better going into it with this mindset, which I did. I actually did enjoy this movie. I thought it was awesome. I didn't really know what to expect. Everybody I spoke to growing up who's a horror fan always brought it up, and I was like, he always asked, did you ever see this? Oh, it's amazing. And I can never, get involved in that conversation until now. And this was amazing. Like, from start to the last shot of this movie, there's so much that happens. There's like these four characters, if you count Brendan Gleeson's character's daughter in this. So there's 4 of them on the road. But I will say there will be spoilers in this review. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I totally recommend you go check it out and then come back for this review, because there's some things you should genuinely experience for yourself, like going into this movie, just watching it. So I don't want to spoil that for anybody. So yeah, you've been warned. Now, let's press on. So it starts off with Cillian Murphy's character waking up in a hospital bed, waking up from a coma, And as he gets up, there's literally nobody around. It's basically he's waking up to an empty world, in essence. And it's cool because I've recently started watching The Walking Dead, like properly started watching it this time. I always like watch to like season 2, like episode 2, and then I would just sort of give up. But I'm properly making a go. I'm on like season 3 now. And it's cool to see how clearly the Walking Dead, the first episode, season 1, was clearly inspired by this opening of this movie. You know, waking up in a hospital bed from a coma, getting up, nobody around, no doctors, bodies everywhere. You know, so that's cool. That was awesome. And he's walking. You know, you can imagine how confused this character is, just walking around like, what the fuck? And he did something I'm pretty sure a lot of people would do. Like, although in a post-apocalyptic world, it's not really much good to you, is it? But he's like grabbing all the money from all the bodies, all the notes, you know. But again, not that they're much good, really, you know. But I thought it was a slightly funny scene, but maybe it wasn't supposed to be funny, but that's, you know. So he's going off, and he gets into so many predicaments, and he meets Naomie Harris's character, Selena, I recall her name is, and her partner. And there's a scene that made me go, "Holy shit!" Is whenever Selena's, I think, partner at the time, I think like he could possibly be infected or something, but he wasn't. I don't think he was bit. So she just beats the living shit out of him. Literally beats the living out of him. His ass be dead. And I was like, holy shit. Like, she's ruthless, man. If she does that to somebody she probably liked, do we really want to tag along with her? But it was awesome. It was cool. So both of them go together. Cillian Murphy's character is called Jim. So Jim and Selena basically team up and say, all right, listen, we got to kind of stick together. And, you know, I like how Selena's like bringing the fact that, you know, like this isn't like, you know, what do you think is going to happen here? You think we're going to get stuck in an abandoned place, have sex, and, you know, all this cliche stuff that happens in movies, which never happens, but they do get together in the end, but they don't have sex. So I thought that was cool. A little bit of like cliche talking, like reminded me of Scream a little bit for that. So I liked that. That was cool. So they eventually run into another character called Frank, played by Brendan Gleeson. There's a scene where they're changing the wheel of a tire in the middle of nowhere. Well, not in the middle of nowhere, but it's like in a big kind of tunnel. And it's pitch black, and you suddenly hear these, like, this noise, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then all these rats, like, full of, like, must have been hundreds, thousands of rats just come running towards them. And, and you know that when you have thousands of rats running towards you, running out of like anywhere like that, you know there's some shit's about to go down, and they're running from something, and they're rats. so you see what they're running from is just more zombies, and the screams are very well done, very effective. The way the screams were, like the curdling of them, really, I thought that was awesome. That really added to the, you know, proper. What's the word? It's not the word I was looking for. It's the word I was looking for the. I don't know, but it made it more genuine. I can't think of the word, but so they eventually get out of there just by the skin of their teeth, and they find this grocery store, big empty one, and it's a cool little scene. You know, it's a big empty grocery store, and all of the shelves are mostly still stocked, surprisingly. But that shows how quick everything went to shit. And I should say that this movie started off with giving an answer as to how this spread. there was like soldiers that bust in on like a scientist's lab, and there's like chimps, and they're all in cages, and soldiers come in and basically trying to rescue the chimps, but the chimps are actually there to protect the human race because they're infected, and they, let the chimps out and they spread the world, and they travel and all this and spread the illness and shit. So that's how the movie started. So I probably should have started this video with that, shouldn't I? Imagine that. But anyway, so sorry about that. But grocery store. So you have this moment where everything is normal for a very brief couple of minutes. They're all just running around with trolleys and they're just putting stuff in it and they're laughing and, they're having a good time. Like they're genuinely seems like a normal day. Like this is a normal thing, Like you step outside, you're in a different world. But this moment, it's like living in this little moment of happiness. And I really like that, especially for what's to come after this. This was like a really beautiful moment and a nice way to show that not all of humanity is gone. There is some hope, some nice people. Yes, I imagine like the post-apocalyptic world, everybody would go nuts, rob TVs and do all this thing and become hardened and, because of loss and everything. So it was a wonderful moment. I really enjoyed that. And then eventually we get to a scene that I want to say not many movies can make me feel in any way feel emotional. I'm very difficult to get in any form to feel in any way emotional. But this movie is one of them movies that genuinely succeeded in doing just that. Now, again, spoilers. So they eventually arrive at the military base. Nobody there. Surprise, surprise. So, basically they get frustrated that nobody is there and they've traveled all this way, endured everything, and there's nobody here. So Brendan Gleeson's character, Frank, just randomly out of frustration, like, it's not something you would think of. He just kicks a pillar, or it's like a big pillar or something, a big post, and he's having to look up, and this little tiny little blood drop goes straight into his eye. And immediately, the second it happens, you're like, no! Oh! I guarantee that's the reaction of everybody that's seen that. Like, oh, shit. So, and I was gutted because I did like his character. Because he's, Brendan Gleeson's an awesome actor. He's really cool. I loved him in Harry Potter. He was Professor, starts with an Moody. Alistair Moody, I think. He was awesome in that. So you get this scene where Frank comes to the realization that he knows what's coming. This is it. And from what they said, you get 10 to 20 seconds from either being bitten or anything to changing. That's the transition time from being human to infected, like full on infected. So he sees his daughter and he tells her that he loves her. And it's a really heart-wrenching moment. And she tries to touch him and he pretty much goes berserk, but not in a way that's malicious or detrimental. It's more of a protecting her way. Like he's grabbing her and telling her to get away, and he's repeatedly shouting this at her, get away from me, as doors to the ground. And then they're all like, what the fuck's going on? What? And then they realize that he's turning, and the whole scene that just played out so sad. That it was that one amazing performance from Brendan of like, throwing his daughter to the ground, shouting like, get away, after saying he loved her. That's the part where it really hit me. I didn't cry, but I felt tears building up, even though none of them came out, but I felt them, welling up, and I was like, oh, performance, the music, just the whole writing in this movie was just phenomenal. To build up to this and to get that type of reaction from the audience, that takes a very talented writer and very talented actors. So they done a phenomenal job with that. Really got me. That scene is what sold this entire movie for me. That one scene. So unfortunately, Frank has to be, eliminated. Unfortunately. And they find an army base, a different one, located somewhere else. So they get there and everything seems fine. Okay, this is cool. We finally found soldiers. And then you realize, throughout all their time there, they're being fed, they're cooking for them. It almost comes across as too good to be true. And basically, that's exactly what it is. It was too good to be true because there's another motive, a very malicious motive, where they talk to Major Worth, I think his name is. I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I've got his name wrong. But he's played by Christopher Eccleston, who's another actor who I love. I remember watching him back in the day whenever Doctor Who came out in 2005 and it was revamped. And he was the current Doctor at the time. And he was phenomenal. It's a shame he only had one series. But he's a great actor. He's awesome. And he played the role pretty well in this. He was awesome. So you realize that the whole plot, you know what? Part of me doesn't want to spoil this because I think it's something that should be watched and experienced. But so I'm not going to specify exactly what it is. But they realize what the true motive is. And it's pretty messed up, by the way, what they figure out and why, and they've been, people lowering people there through the radio for a specific reason, and it's not quite to help. But basically, Jim ends up eventually escaping, and the girls are there. So he goes in this really awesome rampage where he's just running around fucking shit up. And there's a cool, awesome scene where there's like a zombie sitting at the back that the military have kept so they can study it and, maybe learn from it and find some kind of cure, I guess. At least that's what they say, But it's chained up. So you get this awesome scene where Jim basically, he shoots the chain and the zombie gets out and runs in into the house and just fucking destroys, picking off soldiers one by one. And it's so cool. It's really, really well done. But I would absolutely recommend watching this. Now, I haven't seen 28 Weeks Later, but I will be watching it tonight. So it's currently the 5th. Yeah, it's the 5th today. Yeah, that's right. It is, yeah. So I have a short memory. I just said that at the start of the video. What? Oh, God. So you need a beer. So I'm going to watch that tonight, prep up a review for it, and I can't wait. Then I will be reviewing 28 Years Later. So that's going to be interesting. Waited a long time for that one, huh? So I don't know what to expect. But if it's anything in terms of quality like this, then I'm excited. I'm really excited. If it's anywhere even as close as to being as amazing as this movie was, I'm hyped as fuck. I'm bored the train. It's awesome. So if I were to score this movie, I'm trying to think of flaws here. For me personally, from my own personal experience, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. And that's a very strong 9. And absolutely, it's recommended. My favorite scene in this movie, if I were to say, was my favorite scene. Yeah, it's the whole. I've just said it earlier. It's the whole scene with Frank turning, the whole thing. One of the best scenes. It was so powerful. It stuck out. Like I said, it solidified this movie as being as amazing as it is to me. So, yeah, absolutely check it out. And if you stuck it this long, thank you so much for watching. I wholeheartedly appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you. And as always, don't kill anyone.